Right, so today we are going to be installing Windows 10 using a bootable USB onto a MacBook Pro. What's up guys, my name is George. I'm a freelance video marketer based in the north of England. On this channel I share content all around tech, filmmaking and freelancing, so if that is your vibe then hit subscribe and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be installing Windows 10 onto a MacBook Pro. I'm using a late 2013 model, though this is just the MacBook Pro I've had for the last 7 years, but you can use a number of different Mac computers. Here is Apple's current list at the time of creating this video, which is early September 2020. I believe this list of MacBooks and iMacs is based on the fact that later products are able to have the latest versions of Mac OS, which have the compatible version of Bootcamp Assistant, which is compatible with the latest version of Windows. So if you do have one of the MacBooks or iMacs that is compatible on this list, you'll need to make sure that you've updated your Mac's operating system so that Bootcamp is also up to date. That will happen naturally with any OS update. That means that when we go to download Windows 10, we're getting the latest version of that, everything's up to date, and it should work perfectly. By the end of this video, you will have a fully working version of Windows 10 to run alongside Mac OS. Don't worry, you won't have a purely Windows 10 Mac laptop. You will be able to run Mac OS on it as well. To be able to swap between those two, all you need to do is use the Alt key when you boot up. So when you're from shutdown, just hold down Alt, and then as that boots up, you'll be able to decide if you want to boot up Windows 10 or your current version of Mac OS. I do recommend, before starting any installation thing like this, to make sure you are plugged in, and preferably you have a charger cable that isn't duct taped together. This process may take up to an hour, give or take, so this video will be much shorter than that, but if you do need to just have a bit of a break and wait for things to install or load, just be wary. You're going to need to be patient during this process. Sometimes it can be quite slow. One process, which for me had previously taken an hour, more recently only took 15 minutes, so that's sort of hopeful, but it may depend on storage requirements, etc, etc. In terms of storage requirements needed for this installation process, I have dropped a link to Apple's website where they give a more detailed explanation of what may or may not be required, but the absolute base amount that you can allocate for Windows 10 on a Mac laptop is 64 gigabytes, but Apple actually advise 128 gigabytes for Windows 10 to operate smoothly and so that you can install a decent amount of software. We're going to plug in our USB drive. We've got it here. I've actually already made this install bootable with Bootcamp recently, so you will see my drive is already called Win Install. We're going to go to the top right and hit our magnifying glass for Spotlight Search and go to Disk Utility. We've got Win Install here, and that's actually formatted as exFAT by Bootcamp, and you'll see in this video here where I actually did this manually without Bootcamp, and that was to install onto a blank PC, but in this situation we're actually wanting to install it onto Mac OS, so using Bootcamp is one of the ways we can do that. So this one is a fresh start. We're just going to format it as MS-DOS, and I'm just going to change the name to Yo Yo Yo. This is now called Yo Yo Yo. Don't know why, don't know how. I just called it Yo Yo Yo. The next step after formatting the drive is to go to our browser. I'm using Microsoft Edge, and we can go to Windows 10 ISO, download. Search this and we will get Microsoft.com, download Windows 10 disk image ISO file. You will then be asked to select your edition, select your product language, and then you will definitely need 64-bit in order to complete this process as per Apple's instructions in the link below. You will see this ISO file now begins to download. I actually already have this downloaded and it lives in my download folder, so we're just going to cancel that. Here in my download folder I already have the ISO downloaded. Our next step, I'd advise just closing your browser just so your computer isn't doing anything in the background, and then go to your Spotlight Search again in the top right corner and search Bootcamp Assistant. Bootcamp Assistant is essentially software created by Apple that is purpose-built for this job. It was created so that you can install Windows in parallel with your Mac OS so that you can run specific apps. And it's essentially just so Apple, they don't want you to get a Windows laptop or to build a Windows PC. They want you to do everything on your Mac. So weirdly, this is a win for them because you're still buying their hardware, which is quite funny. With Bootcamp Assistant open, you're just gonna have to follow a few little click-throughs, and it's gonna say removing cached iCloud files to make space for Bootcamp. This has already done this very recently, and so I'm surprised I've actually got any files for it to remove. Under select tasks, you want to make sure that all of these are still checked, and also to know that you've got this definitely up to date, these should all be Windows 10. If these are not Windows 10, if these are Windows 7 still in 2020, this may or may not work for you. Make sure you have updated your OS. This should definitely be Windows 10, just to make sure. It could work if it says Windows 7, but I wouldn't count on it. So just update your OS completely, and then you should be fine. Here we will see our ISO image. It has actually already found it for us, and it lives in downloads. And you can see that is the exact file name there, 64 ISO. And then the destination disk is my inserted USB, which is a SanDisk Ultramedia Yo in disk 2 drive. So we are all good with that. Big warning triangle here, the data in the selected drive will be lost after it is formatted. We don't care. You better not care too much about this drive because we already formatted it, so it's fine. So continue. Selected drive will be erased and all the data on it will be lost. Do you want to continue? Yes, mate. This process, last time I did it, took me about 15 minutes. Okay. I'm gonna put on my stopwatch. I'm gonna pause the camera and I'll come back when it has completed. In the past, this process has taken me an hour, but last time it was 15 minutes. So be patient, grab a coffee, grab a snack, a sausage roll, go to Greg's. I don't know, just see you in about 15 minutes to an hour. Yeah, see how we go. Okay, we're nearly there. We've got Bootcamp Windows Support Software version 6136. Oh, it's been 14 minutes. And I'm not sure if you can see that, like 50 something seconds, about, 15 minutes, it's literally gone 15 minutes. That was literally 15 minutes. Oh, that was literally 15 minutes! So now we see the option that Mac has offered us. We have the opportunity to either divide equally, or to give Windows a little bit less space. But based on the Apple recommendations that I mentioned earlier, it says the minimum you should really give it is 64 gigs. Here it seems to let you get down to 48, but I might actually just go for 128. 128 is a small MacBook. Install. It's installing. Put in your user password. So that is the admin password that you use to make changes on here in general. If you're not the admin, make sure you get the admin to come over and type in their password for you. Okay. The system may be unresponsive. Please do not power off the computer or restart until the operation is complete. Because of this, I'm going to end my screen record and save that before it starts freaking out. For the duration of this video, I will swap and film the screen, so forgive the filming screen quality. I didn't want to do it, it's just an occupational hazard. We are currently still waiting for the partitioning of the disk to be completed. This has only been about 4 minutes. Okay, we had a bit of a long session there. That was about 20-25 minutes. It's been asking me for my password again. Second time. And so that's been 20-25 minutes. The laptop is now doing the auto reset that it is supposed to do. All going well. When this reboots, this should be Windows 10. Windows 10, oh Windows 10. Setup is starting. Cool. Language to install. Okay. United Kingdom, thank you very much. Yeah, next. Here you are asked if you have a product key. We do not have a product key. We're just going to install the free version of Windows 10. You can just use Windows 10 for free indefinitely, except you will be limited in terms of customization you can do for like color themes in your layout, and you may have a watermark at the bottom right of your screen now and then, not all the time. I don't have a product key. So you go for Windows 10 Home. Doesn't really matter which one you pick right now. If you do decide to get a product key, then you can get that for whichever version of Windows 10 you like. Right now, we're just going to get Windows 10 Home. I accept license terms. Next. Cool, so here we have our devices that it wants to try and pick. So we've picked out Drive 0, Partition 3, Bootcamp. This is the one that we chose. It was going to be 128 gigs. It's saying that we have 120 gigs free. I'm assuming that's because some of Windows 10, the installer has already taken up some space, so we're going to go for that. So if I had copying Windows files complete, getting files ready for installation, we're at 75%. Okay, Windows needs to restart to continue. That is all good. Okay, similar sort of startup. We've got the actual Windows loading circle. That is normally the sign that you are fully a Windows person. Starting services, getting devices ready, 75%, 100%, getting ready. Okay, we should be essentially installed right now. Yeah, okay, we've got some light on the screen again. Windows 10 again. We've got a loading circle. Just a moment. I would like to say this has been more than a moment now, Microsoft / Apple. You want to select your region. It's essentially now just going through a standard Windows install. Since actually running the install, this has been about 35 minutes now, probably 35 to 40 minutes. This is now going to take another several minutes. So at the moment, I'll do a full time of how long this took at the end, but at the moment this process has taken us about an hour. Okay, this is Windows 10 on a MacBook. We've got it. Welcome to Bootcamp installer. We're gonna say next, take all my money, I accept the terms of license agreement, install. At the bottom of the screen, we have our start menu, for example, package data, things that sort of look normal. And we have our little network symbol, essentially says we are not connected to the internet at the moment. You might be able to hear that my MacBook is about to fly away. It's getting quite hot. We've got Microsoft Edge pre-installed up here. This doesn't look like the Chromium version based on the icon, but yeah, it now comes with Microsoft Edge's Force installed on every new version of Windows 10. This is as of the Windows 10 May 2020 update. Okay, so our desktop has just sort of jumped to make a more fitting size, because before everything was sort of out of proportion. This is what it's going to look like the entire time until you purchase a version of Windows 10 to use an activation key. So, once it's done jumping around, so you'll have Microsoft Edge is already installed, and your desktop background will be fixed to be this standard Windows 10 logo thing, and all your themes in terms of like the color of your taskbar and things like that will all stay the same until you have bought an activation key, or you have activated it through other means, if you have like a USB or a disk or... Okay, so that is now Bootcamp installer completed. We can hit that off. You must restart your system for the configuration. You must restart your system for the configuration changes made to your Bootcamp services to take effect. Click yes to restart now, or no if you plan to manually restart later. We'll just do yes so I can show you the entire process. Restarting one more time. We're gonna celebrate. Yeah, we got Windows installed on our Mac. One more time, we gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright, one more time, we gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright, don't stop the dancing. And he's booting up. He's booting up one more time. Ah, here we are. It's Windows. It's Windows. Guys. It's Windows. This is Windows. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Windows is now fully installed. We're gonna hit boom, and we're gonna hit my password. Boom. Hey! Okay, so that is our Windows installation process complete. We now have Windows installed on our MacBook Pro. Again, this is a late 2013 MacBook Pro, and that process was completely painless, apart from waiting about 45 minutes for the last set of processes to complete, just from sitting and watching and entering my password a couple of times. But it does go through pretty quick using Bootcamp Assistant. Now that we have Windows installed on our Mac laptop, you might be wondering, how do I get back to using Mac OS? How do I swap between the two? Is it easy? Allow me to show you. So, very standard, down at your start menu, you'll have all the things you might be familiar with. We're gonna go to power, and we're gonna shut it down. When we start booting up this last time, I'm going to hold down the Alt key. So I'll just hit power on, holding down the Alt key. Then now we have the option of Windows or Macintosh HD. Now we have this option of Windows or Macintosh HD. So if we want to go to Macintosh, we just double click that. And now we are loading up Mac as we used to. And that means that every time you restart, all you need to do is hold down the Alt key when you're restarting your Mac, and then you will have the choice of operating systems, and you can boot up in either. Totally legit, no piracy software, using just software from Mac and from Windows to then be able to use everything completely normally. Now, I'm back on my Mac. I've got Mac and Windows side by side, working hand in hand on one device. 2020 people. 2020. I really hope that you found this video helpful. If you have, consider subscribing to the channel and checking out some of the links in the description below. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, I hope you have had no problems with this installation process. If you have, drop a comment down below and be sure to like this video. Until next time, I'm out.